For decades, there have been those who have tried to prove that time travel truly does exist. Maybe it does, and maybe it doesn't. But you can't dispute that these intriguing photographs do make you lean towards believing that there might actually be a chance. Number 18. Stranger dimensions. Archaeologists allegedly discovered a tomb in December of 2008 that held the 400-year-old coffin of Xi Qing in China. What they found inside shocked everybody. It was the tiniest watch you've ever seen, with a time set at 10:06. The question was, of course, how on earth did it find its way into a tomb that was 400 years old? Many would love you to believe it's the result of time travel, and we want to believe it too. But we have to break the truth. We've been duped with this one. Number 17. Another time, another place. An extremely popular photograph that many like to haul out when the talk of time travel comes up is this one. The image was taken in the early 1940s when the South Fork Bridge reopened in British Columbia. The guy with the sunglasses seems completely out of place with his surroundings. His hair is cut in a modern men's style, and it looks like he's scanning through a digital camera. Of course, it's been investigated thoroughly, and it seems it's quite possible that everything he wore at the time was appropriate. The t-shirt sported an emblem from a local sports team, possibly the Montreal Maroons, an ice hockey team from those days, and the camera has been proven to have been around in the early 1940s. As for the hair, it's obvious he was pretty trendy. Number 16. Back and Forth. 1948 saw the release of this film, Fort Apache, which featured Henry Fonda as Lieutenant Colonel Owen Thursday and his daughter Philadelphia, played by Shirley Temple, and an iPhone. Well, we'll let you decide what it actually is. Fonda takes the device out while they're busy checking out their stagecoach route. Not sure GPS was around back then, but it does look pretty suspicious. Number 15. Can you hear me now? Must have been rather challenging to find reception back in 1928. This short video clip was pulled from the DVD version of The Circus, a film by Charlie Chaplin released in 1928. As if seeing people randomly walk past a zebra wasn't weird enough, you see a woman holding what appears to be a phone next to her ear. No conclusive evidence as to what it might have been, so let's go with cell phone for this one, shall we? Number 14. Girl, Put Your Record On. A painting that was done in the 1800s has many people scratching their heads because they've spotted what looks like a man about to pull out a CD from his music collection. You can imagine it to hold music like Polly Wolly Doodle from the late 1800s. Number 13. Time Stood Still. It was the evening of the 10th of August 1901, and two friends, Charlotte Ann Moberly and Eleanor Jourdain, were touring France and found themselves a little lost. They came upon a small abandoned farmhouse close to the Palace of Versailles and saw a woman waving a white flag from outside the window. They both said that they were overtaken by a sense of oppression and dreariness, and then it hit them. They were suddenly surrounded by people wearing old-fashioned clothing and whom they believed to be Marie Antoinette herself. Whether they were offered cake or not, we're not sure, but they were convinced that they had gone back in time. They published a book about their bizarre experience, but as you can imagine, no one believed them, and they were mocked terribly. Number 12. I'll Call You Back. Like maybe in 2018. This image was captured in 1938 and looks exactly like a photograph would today, barring the difference in clothing. She looks like she's chatting to someone on the phone. The image was lifted from video footage from that year, and the grandchild of the woman in question has come forward to shed light on the photograph. She says that her grandmother and her co-workers were experimenting with mobile phones and that they were given these mobile devices to test for the week. Seems a bit far-fetched, but what do you think? Number 11. Legend has it. As you can imagine from any of these time-traveling stories, they can be a bit odd. Rudolph Fentz mysteriously disappeared in 1876, yet randomly reappeared in New York City 74 years later. He simply turned up on a busy street in New York in 1950, only to meet an early demise thanks to a speeding car, sending him right back to where he came from. Number 10. But first, let me take a selfie. Have a look closely at the bottom right-hand corner. There you'll spot a man holding what looks to be a mobile phone. This painting was done by Umberto Romano in 1937, so if it wasn't a cell phone, what was it? Any suggestions to the dilemma are welcomed in the comments below. Number 9. Behind the Times. There are quite a number of celebrities who've been accused of passing through the portals of time and coming back after already living another life at another time. Nicolas Cage is one of them. John Travolta, Keanu Reeves, Orlando Bloom, and Justin Timberlake. Number 8. Time to go. It was 1935 when Dr. E.G. Moon was departing the home of one of his patients in Kent, England. When he got outside, his car was nowhere to be seen. Bearing in mind this was 1935, so a stolen car was not the norm. He says the driveway and the road was much rougher than usual, and he saw a man walking past the house wearing several capes and carrying an old-fashioned gun. He turned around, went back in the house, and then tried to leave again, and everything was back to normal. He tried to find the man he saw, but he was nowhere to be seen. He was convinced he had gone back to the 1800s for a brief moment. Number 7. FaceTime. Håkan Nordqvist made news in 2006 when he decided to time travel to 2014. The Swedish man didn't do it intentionally, but he had come home to find his kitchen sink overflowing, and he reached into some piping underneath, but he went a little further than he anticipated. During his bizarre journey, he met his older self. He could see their matching tattoos, and they swapped information that only the real Nordqvist would have known. He says he doesn't care if people think he's a liar, and he knows he isn't, and that's the main thing. Number 6. From Time to Time. This is a beautiful painting by Austrian artist Ferdinand Waldmüller, painted in 1860. It's called The Expected One, and shows a woman wearing traditional clothing from the 1800s taking a stroll through the countryside. In her hand, it looks like she's scrolling through her smartphone, except it was 1860, so what is it really? Many claim it to be a hymn book that she is just completely engrossed in. Number 5. Gift of Time. When it comes to time travel tales, this one is by far the weirdest. It involves the mysterious John Titor, who began posting about his time travel journeys on a few message boards. The hype began in 2000 when he claimed to be an American soldier from the year 2036 who was sent back to 1975 to collect an IBM 5100. He said he was making a quick stop in 2000 to collect a few personal items that otherwise would be lost in the future. Whatever happened to Titor, you might ask? My guess is that his trip was successful and he made it back, or should we say forward, to 2036. Number 4. In the meantime. Air Marshal Sir Robert Victor Goddard has also experienced a form of time travel. It was 1935 when he was sent to inspect an abandoned airfield in Edinburgh. He did what needed to be done, hopped back in his plane and was taking off when an unexpected storm faced him. He went back to the airfield to wait it out, and as he was making the landing, the clouds suddenly cleared and he was faced with bright sunshine. The land that he had just confirmed was empty and abandoned was suddenly bustling with people and aircraft, including 4 yellow planes he'd never seen before. He quickly left and 4 years later was sent to return to the site, which was exactly as he had seen it 4 years earlier, bustling with people and those same 4 planes he spotted. Is this just déjà vu? Number 3. Lose track of time. Actor John Krasinski sure did, as he somehow managed to be the center of a painting done in 1835, a portrait done by a Danish artist. Many have now said that Krasinski is a vampire. Here are some of the more well-known celebs who find themselves having dabbled in a spot of time travel. Michael Cera, Jennifer Lawrence, Liam Neeson, and Kathy Bates. Number 2. Long time no see. This surfer guy looks completely out of place sitting on these rocks at the beach, as his mates around him are all wearing completely different clothing. It's like he's been superimposed on the image or somehow left this rock from 2018 where he was pondering on life and landed up in a completely different time zone. His hair is long, he's wearing a baggy t-shirt and what appears to be board shorts. Number 1. Out of time. It was 1996 when a husband and wife were doing some shopping in London. The wife nipped into a bookshop and the husband headed down the road to a music store. As he was walking away from the music store, he realized that everything around him was quiet. Suddenly, a van came past him, but the van was from the 1950s. He found himself trapped in a scene from the 1950s, and in his confused state, he tried to make his way back to the music store, but it wasn't there anymore. In its place was a clothing store. So he went inside, and the moment he shut the door behind him, he was back in the shop. He still doesn't know what happened, and refuses to give his name because he knows that people will doubt his story. But what do you guys think? Do you believe in time travel? If so, tell us why in the comments below, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting daily videos. Thanks for watching.